to the Positional Sports Talk Show, Post, live streaming on Facebook Live and from our Positions on Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this week. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined this evening by my normal partners in crime. What's going on, J3? How you feeling this evening?
What's up?
J3 bringing his usual energy. We got Johnny in the building. What's going on with you, Johnny? How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good, man. Another exciting Tuesday, another opportunity to get to do this show. Nothing better. Looking forward to a great show.
All right, all right, all right. We got my man Ed in the building. How you feeling, Ed?
I feel good. I'm glad I see all you guys looking healthy and whatnot. Ready to go.
How you feeling, Ed?
I feel good. I'm glad I see all you guys looking
We're getting a little feedback out there, fellas. We got my man Professor J in the building. What's up, Professor? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. What's going on, everybody? Praise the Lord. Let's kick it.
Amen, amen. And last but definitely not least, our special guest this evening, joining us all the way from Louisiana, my man Cam. What's going on, Cam? How you feeling? Welcome to Positional Sports Talk Show, partner.
And thank you for having me. I'm so blessed to be here. Blessed to be here. I'm ready for this amazing show. Let's get it.
All right, all right. Good. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about you, Cam?
Well, yeah, how y'all doing? My name is Cam Holland. Like y'all just said, I play D1 baseball. I'm actually a transfer student. I just left from Norfolk State. I'm headed to Grambling State to finish off my rest of my 2 years of my baseball career. Just loving the game, just working hard every day, working on just trying to make my dream come true, obviously, and just change the game and get these kids something to look up to and just inspire our youth, and especially my black youth, because as you know, baseball is not too much of a urban sport. It's not a black sport. You don't see a lot of us in the game right now. So I feel as though, like, if I keep working hard, make it out here, and give these kids, especially in the DMV area, and see me on the TV, they're gonna be like, "Wow, if he can do it, I can do it too." That's my goal.
Hey,
right
man. Hey, man. That's what's up. Like that. Like that.
Absolutely, Cam. Well, we appreciate you coming on and giving us a little bit of your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Sounds like he being a little modest from what I've heard from a family member that Cam is definitely a potential prospect for the next level. So we're going to wish you much success and then doing it at a HBCU.
Thank you.
Man,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can't have it any better. Can't have it any better. All right, folks. Well, this evening we're going to discuss Major League Baseball. Why not when we got my man Cam here for us? We're also going to talk about the NFL and the NFLPA still trying to finalize the return to play issues, and people are supposed to report this week. The Redskins continue. We thought it was bad before, and then we get that Washington Post story, so we'll dig into that. Plus some other topics that caught our attention during the week, and of course our final post of the evening. We appreciate you tuning in, so sit back and relax and enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. All right, fellas. We didn't think it was going to happen for a long time. Major League Baseball kicks off Thursday night right here in the nation's capital with the world champion Washington Nationals opening the league season off.
That's right.
With our man Dr. Anthony Fauci throwing out the first pitch. So
Fauci.
I'm starting to get a little excited about we're going to actually have some real sports, man. How about
but it ain't gonna last long. It ain't gonna last long.
Oh,
don't
there
get
you go, J3. Come on, man.
Don't get too excited. Hey, listen. Come on now. Y'all pay attention to the news just as much as I do. Y'all know better than that. Come on. Be excited for right now.
Man, you killing me, J3. You killing me. Can a brother have a little bit of excitement? And you know, this is a sports talk show. We need some sports to talk about.
I understand, but you also need people that's going to be healthy enough to play the sport. Need I go first?
I hear you. I hear you.
Wisdom.
I hear you.
So you don't think they're gonna make it at all, J3?
Again, they gonna have a start. They starting. I mean, tomorrow. I mean, Thursday. They gonna start on Thursday, but I don't see them going the whole season.
I can feel that.
I mean, if I'm wrong, just tell me I'm wrong. I mean, I can accept it, but yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, Marcus agrees with you, J3.
Well, all is not actually well. Although we're starting, it's true. Although we're going to start the season this Thursday down in Nats Park in DC, with Scherzer going up against Cole. There's a little problem going on north of the border.
Just a little one.
Just a little one. Where the Canadian Immigration Department minister, actually, Marco Mendocino, I believe his name is, he came out recently and announced that the federal government decided that no baseball will be played in Canada this year.
I wonder why.
Well, I'll tell you why.
I'm sure.
The reason why is, according to the Canadian officials and the numbers, and anybody can turn on TV and see this, the Canadians believe that we, meaning the U.S., have not done enough to flatten the curve of coronavirus cases in America, and they don't deem baseball as essential. So right now,
not really.
So basically, right now, the Canadian and U.S. border is closed for any non-essential travel until at least August 21st, I believe. And so Toronto is left scrambling, trying to figure out where they're going to actually play their baseball games. Now, it's interesting because the city of Toronto and their mayor approved baseball. The province, which is equivalent to our state, of course, the province of Canada, of Ontario, where Toronto lies, approved it. But the federal government stepped in and said, we are led by our health experts, not our politicians. Thus, they said,
Shots fired.
Thus, they said no baseball. And an interesting fact that came up in Toronto, and if you want to compare the size of Toronto, it's roughly the same size as our city of Houston. The worst day of cases ever recorded during this pandemic in Toronto was roughly 230 odd cases. That happened back in April.
Wow.
Houston's worst day was just this past Friday, with over 14,000 cases reported in a day.
Wow.
That's why they don't want us coming into their country.
Sounds like they got a lot of leadership over there, huh? And they know what they're talking about, huh?
I'm just saying
they actually listen to their health officials.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
So now the problem is, where does the Blue Jays play? That's the issue right now. They're basically going to be a road team for roughly 9 weeks. Plus, if they get into the postseason,
they ain't playing for 9 weeks.
The best scenario would be Buffalo, because it's just across the border. I mean, they can get a few fans that hype them up or whatever. But I think coming to Baltimore, we don't want them here. I mean, they in the division. I don't want them playing in Baltimore. So I think that's their best shot, because they don't have to travel very far. And that'll probably be the best accommodations that they'll get to actually help them feel like, they're at home as far as climate. Maybe a couple of fans in Buffalo that cheer them on outside the stadium, something. I don't know. But
Buffalo is a minor league park, right?
Yes, that's the issue. None of the players have already told management that they would prefer not to play in Buffalo, because the facility is not equipped to handle a Major League Baseball team. Besides the amenities, which they've become, they've grown accustomed to, they don't have but they don't have the infrastructure as far as the electronics, the space needed to social distance, the health facilities on site. So there's a lot of things that Buffalo although it's attractive and it's actually maybe an hour and a half drive in a car from Toronto. It's not feasible as far as the stadium is concerned.
But the question is, even if they did do that, I'm sorry, Johnny, real quick, even if they did do that, would Toronto let them come back if they play down there?
Well, there is because the border is supposed to be opened back up on the 21st. That's tentatively. So Ottawa, which is their equivalent to DC for us. Ottawa, what they're saying is there's no guarantee that we're going to allow that border to be opened back up. That was just a fictional date that they put in place months ago. But right now, there's no guarantee that the 21st is going to get here and they're going to be like, okay, you guys can come back.
Right, especially if our numbers keep going up. They don't want us over there.
What you got to add in on this, Cam? This directly affects your sport.
Yeah, I was just listening, just being a student of y'all, but yeah, I feel as though like with the Blue Jays, that their main concern is again the players' health, and so they're in Canada and they see how I don't want to say ignorant, but how we're so just loose. Say
it with your chest, Cam. Say it with your chest.
How our numbers keep rising. Mm-hmm. So like in Canada, they're like, okay, well, since they don't want to listen and they want to keep like you just said, like it's still something around the number you said that was in Houston, but it was through the roof. I was going to say that. So if I'm in charge in Canada and I see in America that like right across the border that their numbers keep rising or anything like that, I'm gonna keep my players' health and their families' health like close to me and everything like that. Make sure they're all right. I'm not gonna have them going into America against it and risk their safety and everything like that. So I'm with that decision with the Blue Jays keeping them in Canada. But like them playing in Buffalo, I still don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think that will happen. It's a good idea, but I doubt that will happen though.
Hey Cam, can I ask you a few questions because you are a high level D1 baseball player?
Definitely.
I want to ask you, do you think that because of Toronto being forced to go on the road, so to speak, do you think that the competitive balance, or do you think it is fair to the team, the Blue Jays team? Do you think it offers like some sort of disadvantage to them as far as playing on the road, and do you think it would actually affect their play? And then also,
go ahead.
And then the second part of that is, as an athlete, if you're in that position, which you're soon to be, with school starting soon, how do you feel about playing in a pandemic?
Take my time answering this question. That's a heavy question.
I apologize.
No, you're fine. So your first question was asking, would that be a disadvantage on my team playing on the road? Is that what you got the first question?
Yes, for the whole season.
Mm-hmm. Well, and in my opinion, that definitely would be a disadvantage because with any team, with any sport, you playing at a different field that's not your home is definitely a disadvantage because just the one fact is that you're comfortable at home. You know the field, you know the dimensions and everything like that. Whereas if you're like say for example, if I'm a rookie and I'm playing with the Blue Jays, something like that, it's my first time and I haven't been to other fields. I don't know how another field plays. I don't know the other team and everything like that. So it's definitely a disadvantage. And your second question was, do you mind repeating it for me again?
Sure. How do you feel, because your season is supposed to get started soon, how do you feel? Are you comfortable enough playing in a pandemic? Do you feel okay playing? Like okay, and I'm gonna ask you as an amateur, which you currently are, and if you were a pro, say in a couple years from now.
Mm-hmm. Well, as an amateur, I feel like it'll be the same answer as when I get to the pros because I love baseball, and And I was reading an article about the precautions that the MLB is taking into making sure the players stay safe during this pandemic and everything like that. And I definitely do put trust into the whole staff, the whole staff on every team, because they're making sure the players are social distancing. If you hit a home run, you can't be dabbing each other up and everything like that. You can't. The umpires have to stay a certain distance away from the batters and the catchers and everything like that. So I definitely I won't feel some type of way about playing during the pandemic. I'll just be just as excited as playing the regular season, because, like I said, I love baseball as well as a lot of other college athletes in the majors. Like, everyone's just hungry because they've been sitting out for so long, so they're ready to play. So I would definitely be ready to play in the pros and the amateurs. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you.
No, that was
Have
a
you
good
noticed,
answer.
you all,
Right.
Cam, one more question for you. Have you noticed the practices? Have they become any different? Are you able to still maintain a high level of when you all go to practice with having to practice social distance? Maybe some individuals have on masks, maybe afraid to slide in the home base or get too close to anyone. Do you feel like that impacts the way you all practice, which in turn could affect the way you play?
Oh, it definitely does. This whole pandemic definitely affects what we practice. One, because especially with me, one thing I like to do a lot is go and hit in the batting cages. And with this whole pandemic, a lot of the batting cages are closed, and plus in the batting cages, it's a real compact space. So what a lot of organizations done is they just shut down the whole batting cage, and they move all the batting practice to outside. You're hitting on field BP. And another thing is, you can't really have like player to coach interactions like that, because like you can't really have a coach home to you and say, hey, yo, hey, do this, do that, and everything like that. So it's more just like, you have to be your own coach. You have to be your own advocate. You have to like see what you're doing wrong in your game, and you basically have to coach yourself. So I say it's a downside and upside to it. Downside is that you can only have like coach to player contact, and then the upside of it is you're actually kind of coaching yourself. So you're improving your game in the physical and mental aspect, because like a lot of people don't know, baseball is a 70% mental game. So if you actually can be able to coach yourself during this whole pandemic and make yourself great during these downtimes, then you'll definitely see a lot from it in your game.
Good answer.
Another great
Right.
answer.
Good answer.
I have a question for you as a high level D1 athlete and also being a recent transfer athlete. Have you felt any pressure about having to make a decision to come to campus to play just because of the situation, and that maybe health considerations aren't as not important, but because you're transferring, because you're high level D1, that you're trying to move to the next level, that just pressure to be there and play so you can keep performing and stay in people's minds, keep putting yourself out there so you can get to that next level?
Well, I definitely do feel pressure because, and like I feel like with myself as well as my other teammates, um, during this whole coronavirus and the whole pandemic, we've all been sitting down and we've all been just eager to get back on the field. So it's definitely pressure, especially me being a transfer student athlete coming to another school. I'm a new student. I'm the new kid on the block, so I feel even more pressure because I'm like, okay, these kids don't know me, coaches don't really know me that well, so I got to show out. And it's been a whole pandemic. No one's been playing. No one's been really practicing. I mean, I've been trying to get as much practice in as I can. So like the pressure I feel is that, okay, I gotta I needed to show out. I needed to be about my game, but then I got to step back and realize, just know myself, know how great of an athlete I am, and just relax, know my game, and just play the game like I know I've been playing all my life. So it's definitely some pressure, but I mean, from playing since I've been like 8 years old, I know how to handle that pressure, and just play the game.
I had a question for you, Cam. We've been
Mm-hmm.
discussing the safety of college campuses and how we felt the virus could basically turn into a horrible ecosystem on a college campus with so many young people running around. You know how it is on a at a college campus. So I was wondering, I was asking you, because I ran across a couple of young guys that who about 18, 19, 20 years old. They feel like they're in peak athletic shape. So they're not as fearful of catching the coronavirus. Based on the information that's been put out, they feel like they're in a better physical position that if they did get it, they'll quarantine for a while and then they'd be back on the field. Do you feel as though, and from your outlook, are you scared of catching the corona? I'm sure you are, but do you think you bounce back quickly? Is this something that's being discussed amongst the young people? I see that smile on your face, Cam. Superman.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because like I have this conversation with my friends a lot, and also have with my parents too. And looking on the news, it always tells you like the age risk of like the older you are, then like you're more at risk of catching the virus and everything like that. And like the younger kids aren't really that much at risk of getting the virus, but like they do get the virus, like you said, they'll quarantine for a while, they'll lose it, and then they'll come back and go about their lives. I feel like I'm sorry, real quick. I kind of got a little off task. So do you mind repeating the question again for me, real quick, so I can
No,
give
no
you a clear
problem.
answer?
As a young man who's probably in top physical shape, do a lot of running, your peers feel the virus as somebody who be 40, 50 years old with some health issues. I'm assuming that a lot of you all in your shape, athletic, and run up and down the field. Are you to the coronavirus? Do you and your peers caught it? You'll be back on the field in a couple of weeks. Question I'm trying to get at. I know I probably just messed you up. If they're not fearful
No,
of
you good.
catching the corona, do they then operate outside of this? Do they have on masks? So they're out just running around having big young fun. So do you feel like your peers in today's climate?
Um, I will say that I do feel protected. Me individually, I do feel protected because I know how to take proper precaution. I know that there's a virus going on, and so I'm going to be smart about it. Like, and I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes I do feel like, okay, I'm not catching this virus. Like I'm young. I'm good. I'm not catching this virus. But I know that I have a family to go home to. I have a family like not. I don't have kids with them. So like my mom, my dad. I got family I go home to, or like when I do go to school, I got teammates, teachers, my coaches, and everything like that. So I'm definitely going to be making sure that um, keeping their I'm keeping them safe as well as myself. So and them vice versa. So again, to answer your question, I don't feel scared of the virus, but one thing that I do take in to consider, to concern is the fact that some other people around my age do feel like Superman. They feel like they're not going to catch the virus, so they're going to be real lackadaisical about not wearing a mask. They're not going to take proper precaution about washing their hands and everything like that. So, me knowing myself, I already like tend to like kind of keep my distance away from people already. So like I'll just be like, if I see you, like, hey, pound you, give you a quick little that, and keep moving. So me myself individually, I don't feel that scared, but I do worry a little bit for my peers because I know how they can be real lackadaisical about the virus because it's a serious situation. It's a serious virus. So I definitely feel like when school starts, it's gonna be
Crazy. It's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Yeah,
Different vibe.
I really want to see how it's gonna. I really gonna see how it's gonna come out because I'm real like I'm excited about playing baseball, but I'm really worried about how my peers are gonna act. It's not like and not just athletes because I know like you just said how I know how college is. Everyone's coming back on campus. They want to see their friends. They want to go to parties. They want to be together. They want to be close to each other and everything like that. And I feel like this whole coronavirus is gonna go in one or the other. They're gonna be like, I'm not catching that, blah blah. But so yeah, it's gonna be because I'm already seeing it. Like people are just like a couple of my old friends from high school that are having parties. Somebody hit me up like, "Yo, Cam, you wanna come to this party?" I'm like,
Mm,
huh?
Man,
Like,
stay away from
but
them parties, especially
Right.
them Corona
yeah,
parties, because they
yeah,
having
Right.
them in
yeah. I'm
campuses
not.
all around the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
What
But
time
nah,
did you
yeah.
get
It's
back from
it's
the
like
party, Cam?
I don't know what you talking about. I don't know what you talking about.
Smart man.
Good
Smart
answer.
man.
Good answer.
Nah,
Good answer. All right, Cam.
but yeah, it's gonna be funny seeing not funny. It's gonna be a movie seeing school start. Put it that way. It's gonna be a movie. I don't know who's directing it. I'm gonna say Tarantino, but it's gonna be a movie.
I'm sure.
Excellent answer.
But before we move on to baseball, Cam, let me get your opinion on, do you think MLB will be able to get through this 60 games season and the playoffs?
In my opinion, I feel like this 60 games is the playoffs will be based upon the 60 games. It's gonna be based upon how many players catch the virus, and it's gonna be based upon if they're taking a proper precaution, if they're actually social distancing, everyone's saying sanitizer, anything like that. Me personally, I doubt that we're gonna have a playoffs. We're gonna have playoffs this year.
Wow.
I doubt it. I think that we will have a full 60 games being played in the MLB, but getting to the playoffs, having a World Series during this, no, it's not. I wouldn't. No.
Wow.
It's just
interesting.
I don't see it happening. I would love. I mean, I love baseball. I love watching baseball. I love playing baseball. I love to see it, but honestly, like in reality, I don't see it happening. I see more players contracting the virus, and I see like maybe even people on the staff, not even players, even coaches or like trainers getting the virus and then accidentally passing it on to the players. So like, it's a lot of ways that this thing can go down, but I don't see playoffs happening this year. But you guys keep talking. I'm gonna grab my charger real quick. Yes, sir.
One last thing. Since you played on many travel baseball teams growing up, even up until the age you are now, being one of the only minorities on those particular teams, and with our Black Lives Movement and social justice movement going on today, just share with us and everybody watching how it feels to be in that position and how your teammates have treated you during this time.
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. During this whole movement, it's been for myself and as well as for the Black community, it's been a heavy situation, and I've been getting a lot of support from my teammates of all races because they know me, they know my Black skin, and they know that they're new to this whole like they're new to seeing how we live on a regular basis, how we treat on a regular basis. So this is all new to them. And I'm gonna say this real quick. My phone is actually on 1%. So if I do go out, it's my phone died. I'm gonna go run up and get the charger. But yeah, this is all new to them. And seeing that video of George Floyd getting like literally saying he can't breathe, that touched them, and I do appreciate.
Yeah, you about to cut it out.
His phone about to die.
Oh man,
my teammates,
I
my
feel
former teammates.
I feel for you, Cam. I know the position. Cold blooded.
Oh dang! And
great
really
insight,
good
by
answer.
the young man.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, just go get your charger. We're gonna move on.
I really appreciate hearing a young man that definitely sounds like he got his head on straight, knows what he's moving toward, and willing to put in the work. But understands what's going on in the world. So that's good stuff, and hopefully we can get Cam back. All right, fellas, let's move on to the NFL and NFLPA. When we were kicking this around Sunday, at that point they hadn't even agreed to anything as far as the protocols. Late last night, they did agree to the testing protocols for the first 2 weeks that they arrive at camp. They will be tested daily. If at the end of 2 weeks the positive test results are below 5%, then the testing will go to every other day. If at any time during the season it bumps back up to 5%, then they go back to daily testing. My first question is, why is the richest sport in this country that makes the most money crying about testing when the NBA created a $600 million to $1 billion, depending on whose estimate you believe, bubble to just finish the season? And they crying about testing the players every day and their safety. I don't understand it.
Trying to make money and keep the product on the field.
That's it.
I think one thing that we've learned about the NFL through our time, at least watching the NFL and covering the NFL, is that these gentlemen that own these teams and ladies that own these teams, they're all about profit. And if there's any way that they can squeeze the profit or transfer the cost to the players, they're going to do it. And that's what's happening right now. They're fighting over something that should be automatic, because in every press release or anytime you throw a mic in front of Mr. Goodell or anybody else representing the NFL, they always say health and safety of our players is number one. Well, if it's number one, step up to the plate and let's get some testing done.
Yeah, because I mean, let's be real. You're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry. How much? I understand there's 1,600 players, but how much more is it going to cost you to test them every day versus every other day in the big scheme of things if you want to keep them on the field?
Especially when the sport you're playing has the most physical nature out of all the sports that are currently going on in the U.S. anyway. Like, of course, you have to stay on top of football. So immediately when you tell me that you're not willing to run the test every day, if not several times a day, you're clearly trying to protect your bottom dollar. And it's disgusting. It's a slap in the face. The players are already terrified. They're all over Twitter. I've never seen these guys this vocal. I've seen tweets from guys I didn't even know they knew home row, let alone how to put a sentence together. And they are frustrated. Go off, Professor J. I know you got something for them.
What have I been telling y'all for weeks? The NFL is the big bully that's in the room. Their feeling was, we gonna wait till the last minute. Y'all gonna accept whatever we put on the table because y'all want to get paid and we want to get paid. So, I mean, they acting out exactly what we said that they would do. So now they're trying to push around the NFLPA, saying y'all need to accept these terms so that we can get on the field and make this money. But like Reg is going to tell us in a few minutes, it's a collective bargaining thing. So there's some provisions and things that need to be discussed wholeheartedly first before you start telling people that they need to get back on the field. But there's a problem, though, fellas. Didn't rookies have to report yesterday and today? Now, if you're coming into the league, are you about to buck the system right now? You're going to take your tail right on the training camp. So, yeah, Johnny, the veterans are concerned because they saying, hold up now. And we remember when it was talk about the inmates running the asylum and all this kind of stuff. Now y'all just trying to dictate to us that we just supposed to report back to training camp, and you guys haven't even made any real provisions to keep us safe. There's no bubble talk for the NFL. As of right now, they still going to be traveling all over the country. That is insane.
What I was impressed about was you just said it, Professor J. You had the rookies for Kansas City and the Texans that were supposed to report it yesterday, and then the other teams, rookies, were supposed to start reporting today. But over the weekend, you had NFL players and we're not talking about small NFL players. You're talking about the biggest players in the league. Went on social media and let the NFL have it.
Absolutely.
You're talking about Patrick Mahomes, J.J. Watt, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Drew Brees. More. They even put the NFL on blast, talking about you hired people, scientists and doctors, to put together an actual protocol and plan, and now y'all won't listen to them, but y'all want us to show up? Oh, no, we ain't having it.
Right.
Let's
And
see
as
how many.
Professor J said, it's a collective bargaining agreement, so they have to get the NFLPA's buy-in, or we won't have football at all.
And this is starting to sound or mimic the exact same thing MLB did and the MLBPA. The same exact thing. And the crazy thing about the NFL is they had the advantage of time. Like they had all year, technically, pretty much beginning with the in January or right after the Super Bowl in early February.
Right.
They could sit back and they could watch other leagues, see how they stumbled or succeeded.
Right.
And they still having an issue at the last minute, literally the last minute. It's definitely a collective bargaining agreement.
And the issues they still got to agree on, they're not small issues.
At all.
COVID-19 protocol.
Right.
What are the opt-out provisions that you're going to allow players? Pre-existing causes. 80% of the league is black. 70% of that 80% have body mass indexes that are considered obese for their height and size. Another pre-existing condition. Don't get me to talking about the linemen like I am. Come on now. What about the family members? Like you said, there's no bubble. So they're going to be going home every day, going to practice with 70 to 100 people that they got to interact with during the day and then go back home. Some of these people, like Russell Wilson, got wives that are pregnant. Have elderly family members that they taking care of to live in their house. Are they supposed to rent an apartment to seclude themselves from their family? I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Then you're talking about money. The NFL wants the players to absorb, if not all of it, the majority of the lost revenue.
Wow.
Of course.
You're talking about billions of dollars. They are estimating that they're telling the players you're going to have approximately a $70 million per team cap hit next year.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, and Big Red, now forget that the owners want preseason games, but of course the players want 0 preseason games this year. And then on top of that, you moving into next year where they want 18 games. They try to push for an 18-game season. Then you go into the loss in revenue that they want the players to eat most of that pie. I mean, this is about to be an entire mess. And if people start getting sick at rampant rates, I mean, the NFL might be in some serious trouble more than any other sport because, to y'all's point, this is a contact sport more than any other sport where the linemen breathe on each other every down, for God's sake. And then let's not even talk about the helmet. You know, they're refusing to wear the helmet. So that's another consideration, too.
Just a hot mess.
Yeah, I mean, for a league that looked like they had their stuff right and was pushing forward and ready to go, I may have to believe you, Professor J. I think they planned it this way to try to shove these what they wanted to do down the players' throats, but they picked the wrong group of players.
Yeah, but Big Reg, I have to step back for a minute, and I don't necessarily think that they were the ones that had it, that made it look like they had it all together. But they had a czar. They have a czar that runs the show with an iron fist. And he told them, stay way back when they were debating whether or not to hold the draft, he told them to basically shut up.
Shut up.
And if you say anything negative about the Shield, you will be dealt with. So and that was a memo from the top down, meaning from the management of individual teams all the way down to the practice squad players. You are not to say anything. You are not to say anything negative towards the NFL. So
that sounds like a slave master mentality right there.
Well, I'm not. Well, I'm just. I'm not going that far, but I'm just saying.
And I'm just saying that's what it sounds like to me.
And who one of the biggest mouths in the NFL? That's my Jerry Jones. You ain't
heard from Jerry in 6 months.
Hit me in the chat. Where y'all at now? Talk some trash now.
Now they all quiet.
Yeah.
Well, their leader is quiet.
Exactly. That's my point.
He's quiet on the multiple things, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Well, I was listening to the head of the Players Association, not Morris Smith, the actual player rep president.
Acho?
Yeah, yes, Acho, yes.
Okay.
And he was saying it's all about player safety, and if y'all can't get that right, then we can't play.
Then why are we talking about this if it's about player safety?
Good point. Good point.
The bubble is the only way anything can work.
The decision that Canada made as far as Major League Baseball coming into their country, as far as U.S. teams, that was a true representation of caring about player safety and the public at large. What we're doing as a collective nation down here in America is totally against everything health and safety related. It goes back to the relief pitcher that came out a few weeks ago that pitches for the Nationals when he said that sports is a reward for a function in society, and right now we have no sort of function as far as seriously, we have no sort of normalcy or function in this country as far as related to the COVID-19.
I feel you. And when you're having coaches and owners, did y'all see that the new Las Vegas Raiders owner said,
"Yep,
if it's not safe for customers to come to the games, I'm not coming either."
I saw that.
If you ain't coming, but you want these grown men to go,
because he's saying I'm paying you. You gotta get on that field.
Again, what does that sound like? Crack that whip.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like that cruise ship captain in Italy a few years ago who jumped off the ship while his ship was sinking. And he was over on dry land. He was like, "Man, what's taking y'all so long? Get off the ship."
He's still in jail, ain't he?
Hey, but he wasn't on that ship.
I don't usually quote a lot of people on this, but I got to give my man Stephen A. a little heads up.
Yeah,
Stephen A. said, you know what? While y'all negotiating, part of the negotiation, a must-have, all the owners, the GMs, if we got to be in the building, y'all got to be in the building.
How about that?
Every day, every game.
But that's a true leader. You lead by example. If you can't be with your daggone soldiers at a time of need, you ain't no true leader.
That could go a long way, Joe.
Hey, speaking truth, bro.
Yes.
Are we talking about the Washington football team?
Speaking about leadership. That brings us right to the next story. Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
I mean, it was teased all week. There was some erroneous information floated out there about how bad the story was going to be.
True.
But after reading that story, as a former Washington football fan, I gave up my card 2 years ago. All of y'all who've been listening to the show heard me in the beginning of our first show saying I was done. I was disgusted for the environment and what that team has put female employees through,
Mm-hmm.
not just recently, for what, the past 13 plus years?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been one consistent the whole time. The man up top. So I know, Professor, you did some more digging and research into this. So why don't you tell the fans a little bit about what you thought about the article?
Okay. Big Rage fellas, let's just backtrack one quick second because I want to raise what Marcus said. He said the season might start, but it won't finish. All it takes is some of these $1 million quarterbacks to catch the Rona. And then Carolyn said there will be no NFL season. So do we want to kick that around first, or do we want to keep it moving?
That's got to hurt Carolyn to her heart.
Yeah,
you talking about
buddy.
a die-hard football fan,
Mm-hmm.
especially a Washington football team fan. She's already saying no season. Wow.
That's deep.
It's real deep.
Yeah,
well, we're going to see how it goes. But I agree with you too, Marcus. One of them Drew Brees or Tom Brady get Rona, it's going to be a wrap. And we're not talking about Cam, and we're not talking about Jameis. We're talking about the Golden Boys. But anyway, I digress. So the Washington football team, and I entitled what's going on is As the World Turns DC edition. Because this whole soap opera has been going on for 21 years. And as a Washington fan, I didn't put former behind mine, maybe just yet. But as a Washington fan, I would really like to see the soap opera end and us really get to doing what we're supposed to do. What did Bruce Allen famously say? Winning on the field? Winning off the field, something like that. We need to win on the field. But this scathing report, fellas, that came out by Washington Post own Will Hobson and Liz Clark really painted a very toxic and nasty and disgusting picture of what has been going on at Redskins Park. Now, get this, for like 13 years. So when you talk about the number of professional women that have gone in and out of that building, and many of them, it's up to 15 now, have given and corroborated similar stories of the sexual harassment, the sexual misconduct, the verbal abuse. I mean, it's crazy that you would even think that this owner would still be in power after 21 years, but 13 years of all this going on. And kudos to the young lady that Emily Applegate, who had the guts to really stand up and not only put her name on it, but put her face on it as well.
Yeah.
She really wanted to lead this charge of women that are saying enough is enough. And you know what I'm surprised at, fellas, during this Me Too movement, this era that has been happening in the last couple of years, that these men, Alex Santos, these men are supposedly the creme of the creme de la creme. They continue to do these things, and it took them to the point where they were actually fired in order for them to get removed from these positions. But here's the problem, and I've heard the arguments all week long. This happens in every corporation across America. While that may be true, we need to deal with the cesspool of corruption that's going on in a franchise that's also being marred by a name controversy, which, breaking news, they still haven't found one, or they haven't let us know. This is also a team that has had his 40% minority leaders turn against the majority owner in Daniel Snyder. You got turmoil going on in the front offices, and we know what's been happening on the field. Then you got allegations that many of the coaches that have now departed are involved in all of this stuff too. I mean, when will it end? So my question to you all, fellas, and to all of our watchers and listeners is, when is enough enough? Should we be calling for the complete selling of Daniel Snyder's 50 or 51 majority in this team? Should we be calling for that?
Well, we can call for it all we want, but because his name isn't, because you want to compare, if you want to, for comparison's sake, if you want to compare it to what went on in Carolina and Mr. Richardson being forced to sell his team, what you have is in Carolina's case, he was directly linked and named in the complaints as far as racial and sexual harassment that was prevalent within the Panthers organization. Dan Snyder, however, he was not directly linked and named in any of these complaints, or except, I'm sorry, as far as the complaint that came out in the Washington Post highlighted by Miss Applegate. So I think he will slide his way out of this. That doesn't excuse what has been happening in Washington, in Ashburn, as far as the harassment of these women employees. But I think he will escape reprimands and being forced to sell his team. But the whole thing is a sham, beginning with the independent counsel he hired to look into.
Right, that he's buying.
That the team hired him paying. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're not going to recommend he fire himself. So to answer your question, I think he will escape being forced to sell the team. Do I think he should? Possibly, but he won't be forced to sell it.
Well, that only depends on. Hold on, but that only depends on if they can link him to Mr. Epstein, who passed away not too long ago, because rumors are that he was associated in that clip. So keep that in mind.
I'm not going on rumors.
Okay.
Only because I think that's a slippery slope. That will play out in time, because things like that can't be suppressed, particularly now that it's open season. On that person that you had just mentioned. So that I think that will come to light if that is actually true, and then you're dealing with a whole different situation.
And it's an interesting point, because I felt that the Washington Post article was incomplete. I think it just abruptly ended, and it felt like there was more investigative reporting that is in the works or needs to be done. Because certainly I saw swirling around the internet all those rumors about that connection. But what I really want to see is some hard evidence that really connects him. And then if that happens, then you certainly might see another shoe fall.
Man, they just wanted you to buy some more paper. That's all that was.
But Professor J, Professor J, I think within that Washington Post article, I think not a really, really interesting point was that it was 15 reported women that was interviewed, but only one, Miss Applegate, was actually put herself in print and put herself on actually on film and actually spoke willingly. But the other 14 out of that 15 have non-disclosure forms, and the Washington Post asked the team if they would release those women from those agreements, and the team refused it to let these women speak. So that right there told me all I needed to know. Now, I read that article multiple times, but when I kept coming to that point in the article, that told me everything I needed to know as far as if you have something to hide, if you don't have something to hide, let these women speak.
That's where the NFL needs to step in. 2 points. They need to take over the investigation and say, we appreciate you hiring someone. We're going to bring in our own investigator, and we're going to run this investigation because of the multiple issues that the team is dealing with. NFL got money. That's not a problem. The second thing is the NFL needs to tell the Redskins to release these women from their NDAs to their investigators. They don't have to do it in public, but they have to actually sit down with these women. I think if you get the NDAs released, I think you'll get more information. And when that other information comes out, because don't forget, there's still that issue about the cheerleaders photo shoot that came out 2 years ago.
Costa Rica.
That they had their big time donors, part of their package was to go to this cheerleading shoot, and then they had the cheerleaders taking topless photos. They ain't doing no topless calendars. So why you have the cheerleaders? And then later that evening, the cheerleaders were paired with the donors as their dinner hosts. So there's some other stuff there, and Danny's trying to hide as much as possible, because if that stuff comes out, it's a wrap.
Right.
Yep.
And for everybody out there saying about Cuban, Mark Cuban, A, is in the NBA. B, even though the commissioner may not like Cuban as much, people like Cuban. Cuban's a TV personality. Nobody likes Snyder. He doesn't talk. He's nasty with everybody. So, yeah, he's not going to be able to save that. You got anything to add into this, Cam? I see you back with us.
Honestly, I was going to have y'all talk. I mean, I'm not much of the football expert right there. So I just like to just hear and just like educate myself, because I didn't want to say nothing and just end up sounding just like I didn't know what I was talking about. So y'all know more about this, and I don't know much about that guy.
Let me ask you this: do you think they should change the name? Just tell us yes or no. You think they should change the name?
100%.
Okay, all right,
100%.
Cool.
They been should have changed that. I don't know why it is, but yeah, they been should have changed that.
See, you know a lot.
Right. I know what's right. I know what's right. I know what's wrong.
Right.
Can I put a question out for you guys? I want you guys to answer this question for me. How can a team valued last year by Forbes magazine at $3.4 billion not have an official HR department? 220 full-time employees worth $3.4 billion. They have one HR person, and that person also has assigned administrative duties. But one person, how does that exist in 2020 or 2019, whatever year we're in?
Man, you seen a pyramid before. Right.
Yeah, because the team, if he sold it today, he could actually get more than $5 billion. But let me answer your question. The reason is because he knew the exact culture that was going on inside those walls, and he didn't want to have too many individuals that are from a human resources standpoint to be privy to everything that was going on. And the fact is, you could call it half of a person, because the one individual that they had in charge of HR also had another duty that took that person out of the building most of the time. So that person wasn't even present in the building most of the time.
But is that even legal? You see what I'm saying? Is that even? Is it even legal? I know who to talk to. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna come back with this next week because I'm gonna find out.
You can say you got the department. Oh no!
I got to point out. I appreciate it, Renee Goodman. It looks like the NFL has thrown the players a little bone and canceled, was going to forego all the preseason games. Yay. So that's one item out the way. They still got to figure out the other ones. But Chris, you funny about that Bob Kraft one.
That's real talk.
Bob Kraft had his own issues.
Real talk.
I think it's a connection there too.
Yep.
Wow. So it's going to be real interesting. But there was some good news for the Redskins for once in the past few weeks. What happened? What happened with that, Professor?
Well, of course, I'm going to save the bombshell news for the end, but we do want to give them kudos for their recent hiring practices. So let's talk through a little bit about who they have now brought into the building. So out goes Bruce Allen, Richard Mann, Alex Santos, and people of the like. And in comes you got my man Donnie Warren has been hired as the senior pro scout. You got Eric Stokes coming in as director of pro scouting. And from what I hear, they have crystal clean records. So at the executive vice president and chief marketing officer position, you have Terry Bateman. Again, another safe hire. And all of these hires have been given kudos by none other than Rick Doc Walker, Brian Mitchell, Fred Smoot, and Darryl Green. So they got the stamp of approval from former players who actually know that these guys are going to do great work. And you know they was going to give it up for Donnie Warren. The biggest news of the day, and I love this young lady, Julie Donaldson has now been promoted.
Yay!
And I am going to throw a little bit of shade because it's the exact same position as our dearly departed Larry Michael. Okay. So she will be running all of the content and media as the senior vice president for all of their media and everything that goes on and content and everything. She will also be the new broadcasting voice for the Washington football team's weekly broadcast. So, I mean, she has come a long way. She has been in this market for 10 years. She's been in the sports industry for 20 years. And she has crossed all the T's, dotted the right I's. She is a consummate professional. She does it the right way. She comes from NBC Sports Washington, where she's done a phenomenal job alongside people like Brian Mitchell and Chick Hernandez. And I mean, the lady, you guys know her. She is phenomenal. It could not be a better hire for this position. Let me get y'all thoughts on Julie Donaldson.
Long overdue. Long overdue.
I like the Gator. Yeah, she as anyone who's watched her knows that she's a Florida Gator alum. She knows her sports, definitely football. She's been on the Redskin beat heavy for the last like 3 or 4 seasons. So while she's going into a hornet's nest and a little bit of a mess, she's the kind of person with her credentials and with her contacts in the media that she shouldn't have to deal with any of this nonsense out there. And as my man said that Me Too NFL is coming. Because don't think the Redskins are the only team. I hear you.
That doesn't happen in Pittsburgh. That doesn't happen in Pittsburgh.
Oh my!
What?
Are you serious? I ain't even gonna get on Ben Roethlisberger's.
I was getting ready to say, Big Red. Are you serious?
Big Red. He tried to get ready to show.
I'm gonna leave that alone. We gonna keep moving.
He's not in the front office.
Come on, but he on the team.
And he'll never be in the front office with his track record.
Wow. Can't believe you said that, Ed.
I did.
Before we get on to our other things that caught our eye and then our final post, I just wanted to put one final thing out there that wasn't necessary on our rundown. Fellas, what y'all think about the NBA snitch hotline and y'all boy Dwight Howard out there in the bubble not wearing masks, talking about he ain't gonna get vaccinated?
I don't think he wants to be there anyway. If you remember, he was one of the guys talking about, man, I don't think I'm going to play, And now all of a sudden he's not wearing masks. He going to do everything he can to get paid without playing.
I'm going to plead the fifth on Dwight Howard because it's some scathing things I can say about that, bro. I'm just leave it alone.
Every time I see a photo from the Lakers page, he looks like he has one on. Dwight is notorious for being a big jokester, so I think he's just playing around. I would like to think he's just playing around. He has been the only one participating in. So supposedly the NBA got 2 DJs to DJ a party, invited everybody in the bubble to come on down. Dwight Howard was the only person in there with some extra small sweatpants. Him, the DJ, and medium sweatpants. And that was it. The bartenders walked on the other side of the bar and served themselves. That was the only way they were able to make any tips. There was nobody there. But as far as that snitch line, I think it's necessary. And it's probably the type of individuals who are calling in that you wouldn't expect to call in. I guarantee you, well, you probably expect LeBron to call in. He's trying to win one and get home to his family. So I'm expecting them to take advantage of the NBA tip line. I think is there. But I wonder if they catch somebody telling on somebody, will they discipline on their own or will they bring it to media? It's very interesting to me.
That's a good question.
So Ed think he trying to get himself out of there, and Johnny think LeBron trying to get him out of there.
I think the White
out the bubble.
Dwight won a ring. I think anybody that desperately wants a ring is willing to snitch on somebody. So anybody from the Clippers, the Lakers, I'm looking at Kawhi Leonard. Don't say much, but he gonna pick up a phone and.
This is Kawhi.
Get them all out of there. Like I saw LeBron on the block.
I'm telling you.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, fellas, it's time for some things that have caught our eye. I'd like to point out for our regular listeners, y'all know how we like to highlight things that the ladies are doing in sports. Please don't forget, the WNBA is in their own bubble in Bradenton, Florida at the IMG Academy. They actually kick off their season this Saturday. As we talked about last week, those ladies aren't getting treated nowhere near as nicely as the NBA players. They've had to bring their kids because these are moms. They would have little children, bring them with them, be sequestered for 3 months. So please give the ladies some love and a special shout out to the national champion Washington Mystics and Canty Olsen for standing up and doing the right thing. As far as Elena Deladon, we talked about it last week that she was denied her medical request for being able to sit out the season, still get paid. The Mystics announced the next day that they were going to pay Elena. They were going to figure out whether she's rehabbing from her back surgery or whatever, but she going to get paid. Don't worry about it. So that's good stuff for me. A little unknown sport that y'all might not follow too much, but I hope some of y'all will start following. My man Lewis Hamilton of Formula One fame, for all y'all that don't know, he is the only black driver in Formula One. Just won his second F1 Grand Prix in a row, the Hungarian Grand Prix over the weekend. That gives him 86 Formula One wins, which puts him 5 behind the all-time record that is currently held by Michael Schumacher. So you're talking about in a sport where they don't want us to be in it. They haven't figured out how to stop this young brother. He's only in his mid-30s and is getting ready to break the all-time wins record for Formula One. And on top of that, he checked F1 after his win. He went on and got on them about cutting his demonstration about Black Lives Matter and the lack of diversity in F1 short. They started playing the Hungarian national anthem in between his little set aside time that they told him he would have to do his protest, and he gave him hell about it. So Lewis Hamilton, you my man. Anybody got anything else that caught their eye this week?
Yeah, so real quick, talking to Jay Minnie the other day, she wanted me to put out the SWAC releases their statement regarding fall sports competition has all been postponed. So yeah, if you down in the dirty, you ain't playing no time soon.
Yeah, I just got that same email.
Oh, you go ahead. Sorry, Cam. You need to say something.
No. I would just say I got that same email because Graham lives in the SWAC, and okay. I just wanted to see how, because with baseball we do like fall ball, like fall workouts and fall scrimmages and everything like that. So I just wanted to see how that would go about. Hopefully we can still do that because it's not actually like in conference games, nothing like that. But I mean, I just feel like a little hurt, because I know a lot of these schools, especially like with HBCUs. I mean, like with colleges in general. Like a lot of their money comes from athletics, especially with football. So it's gonna be a tough loss without fall sports. So yeah.
So Cam, if y'all not having any practices, are you guaranteeing us a 4.0 GPA?
Ooh,
I can't.
He didn't hear you. He didn't hear you. He said, if y'all not out there, are you guaranteeing us a 4.0 GPA?
Oh, of course. I mean, that was already in the conversation. I mean, of course, that's happening.
Nicely done.
Good answer.
Nicely done.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yes, sir.
Hey, something
student first, athlete second.
My man.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Yes, sir, get that degree.
Hey, something that caught my eye. It's when did Ron Rivera become Bill Walsh, Bill Belichick, Bill Cowher, or Bill Parcells? I just want you guys to think. We don't have to answer that, but I just want you guys to consider that for some thought.
Really, Ed?
He's in charge.
The Washington Redskins, Ed.
I mean, but he's in charge of changing the culture. I'm just saying. I'm not debating it. I'm just asking. I'm just putting it out there. We can talk about it off record.
Just because we talked about Ben, you gonna bring in Ron Rivera? Really?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm talking about in 9 years, he has a barely a winning record, and he has a losing playoff record. He's only 3-4 in the playoffs in 9 years. So I'm just saying, when did he become in charge of the name change, developing Haskins, changing a culture that hasn't won in 21 years?
Wow.
And developing an HR strategy.
Wow.
I'll answer your question like this, Ed. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
All right, I'm gonna leave Ron alone. I'm glad a minority got hired. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, man. You know what the rule is, Ed. When stuff gets bad, they'll let us have a job to clean it up.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Absolutely.
All right, fellas, it's time for our final post so we can get out of here.
Hold on, Big Reg.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got something? My bad, Professor.
Sir, I was just waiting my turn. And who is that with their feedback? Y'all driving me crazy. The San Francisco Giants and their manager, they get hats off from me. They actually took a knee during the national anthem. Several players, and even the ones that stood, rested their hands on the shoulders of the players that knelt. And I'm thinking that is the right move. We need to start banding together and making sure that we in the movement together to cause positive change. So kudos to the San Francisco Giants.
That's positive.
Yeah, and Dave Kapler, the manager, orchestrated all of that, and he knelt also. So to have a manager do that was huge.
Yeah. Excellent.
All right. Anybody else got anything to caught their eye before we jump out of here with our final post? All right, fantastic. All right, Professor, why don't you start us off, brother?
All right. Well, I certainly would like to thank Cam for coming on today. He really did a magnificent job.
Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. We are praying for you, young brother, that your major league prospects, they come to fruition. Just stay safe, man, and just keep doing what you're doing. I love you.
Absolutely.
Sir. Love you too.
Stay focused, brother. Stay focused.
For sure.
Yes, sir. You already know. Tunnel vision.
All right, Johnny, what you got for us?
I just want to let everybody know I love them. Stay safe. Always protect yourself. Cam Holly, you got a fan in me. I'm try to find whatever Comcast, Fios package I could get to make sure I get those Grambling games. If I got to set up a camera myself and run the cord all the way back to my house, I'm going to catch those games, young man. So I got your back. Everybody be safe. Love you all.
All right. All right, Big Ed.
Mine's just real quick. I want to wish Ruth Bader Ginsburg a speedy cup recovery. Please hold tight.
Absolutely, please.
We do not need anything happening to you right now or any time in the future. I just want to wish her a speedy recovery.
Excellent point. J3.
First, I want to say, Cam, thank you very much for blessing our show and being on it. We appreciate that. Secondly, I want to say, absolutely. Secondly, I want to say, rest in peace, Mr. Lewis, for all the hard work that you've done over the years. You truly are going to be missed, and we appreciate everything that you've done. And I just want to say, I love you all, and stay safe, and let's come back next week and have another great show.
Likewise.
And my final post of the evening is for the NBA players and WNBA players who are utilizing their platforms in their bubbles, who are making sure that they continue the conversation about Breonna Taylor, police issues, institutionalized racism. Even though they're in their bubbles, they're not going to let the situation die. And they told us they were going to do that, and they're following through. They're doing it in press conferences, anytime they get interviewed, making sure that they steer the conversation back to the issues at hand. So my hat's off to them. I hope they continue to do it the whole time they're in the bubbles, so that at least the media does get a chance to let this go.
Rich.
Yes, sir.
A quick question, something we might want to poll our listeners next week is, how do they feel about these NBA players playing with no names on the back of their jerseys?
It's a good idea. That's a good idea. That was I like the idea that came from the madman out of the Miami Heat. Yeah, that once they leave the court, they're just like everybody else. So good idea. Good idea. We hopefully Professor J can figure out a way to make that happen for us.
Got it.
Roger that.
All right, folks. We like to thank, first of all and foremost, I'd like to thank Mr. Cam Holland for gracing us with his time this evening.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Good job, man.
Louisiana.
It's a good job. Great experience. Great experience. Thank you. Thank you.
We wish you nothing but success, my brother. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep your head on straight, and you'll go a long way, both in sports and in regular life. So keep that up. We also like to thank all our tuners, all our customers. Woo! See, you got me excited, Cam. You got me excited. All our listeners for tuning in this week. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. We're here every Tuesday at 7 p.m., so please tune in next week for our next live show. You can also catch our shows via download on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is Position on Sports Talk Show. Our face page is at Positions on Sports. Please like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. And if you can also tell your friends, family, and social media members about the show, if you think we're doing a good job, we greatly appreciate trying to grow, trying to get better, trying to get bigger, and bring real talk to sports each and every week. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great evening. Have a wonderful weekend. Cam, you take care of yourself. My brothers, I'll see y'all next week. This has been the Positional Sports Talk Show. Peace. Stay safe.
God bless you.
See ya.
Peace.
See ya.